All right, wellness students, it's Prof T here. If you don't recognize the spot, I am on my old stomping grounds, Watson Field, the baseball park here at Olivet. And I had promised section 3, Monday and Wednesdays, that we'd have an outdoor class at some point. So I thought I had to fulfill that requirement. And so I'm hoping you guys have been able to spend some time outside and watch some of the videos or go through course content, do your reading outside as well. So it's a great day here in the Burb, so I hope you're having a great day back there. We're going to go through the PowerPoint slides for wellness and aging. So you're welcome to follow along with me on those slides that I posted today. And then if you have any questions, as always, don't forget to hit me up. I hope you enjoyed the video that I sent this morning. It's using the Face app, and I'm sure I'll give back a message, say, oh really, Prof T, I didn't recognize that you'd done anything different. So touche if you thought that. And then the wellness and aging PowerPoint starts actually with a few pics like that. And I thought of the two pictures on page 2 were actually the two movies I watched this week. It was the anniversary of Endgame coming out last night, so my daughter wanted to watch Endgame, so we watched Endgame, and there's a Face app picture of the Avengers on there. And then my daughters again wanted me to watch something else this week, which was the premiere of the Jonas Brothers documentary. So I enjoyed it. Two picks. So, and then the final one, as you know, is the Face app applied to Dr. B, and I mean, what a change, when you put that Face app on, anyway, so we're going to start by with the slide thinking about aging, and I know that's something that probably foreign to you guys, and to be honest, it's just you have a hard time convincing college students. I know, if I look back up, when I was in school, you would have had a hard time convincing me to really think about my aging process and how I was going to age. So if nothing else, I hope that the app helps you, motivates you to do that. So there's a ton of them out there, but the one I use is just called the Face app on my phone. You can do photos or video, but I hope it motivates you to just think maybe a little bit about your future. From the wellness perspective, aging is proactive, just like everything else we talk about in wellness, and that requires some preparation for aging. And you can fit those into the categories of the wellness components. So you have to prepare physically. So what's your lifelong diet like? What's your physical activity and flexibility plans like? Are you preparing to age well physically, as opposed to just hoping for it and seeing like, oh, let's see what happens? The same with the social and emotional component. Do you have friend group, support group? Are you engaged in activities that help you develop socially and emotionally? And if you have emotional issues, same as physical, are you seeking out help and counseling for those, and not letting them get worse and stack up on a lifetime of problems? Occupational wellness. Are you thinking about retirement? It's one of the things that as you look for you look to a career path and to your jobs, people neglect to look at what's that job look like in retirement. Intellectual wellness. Are you using age and wisdom? You thinking about those things? Am I well read? Do I know what's going on in my community? Do I participate in elections and use my right to vote? And then finally, spiritually, am I thinking about not only what God wants for me here in this life, but in the afterlife, and living in eternity with God? So those, you can kind of put them in those categories. The next slide is called Aging Well, and it looks at the 3 stages of adult aging. And one of the things to keep in mind in this is the third station. No matter what happens, no matter how well you live your life, just statistics will tell you that there's a decrease in mental and physical capabilities as you age in that third time frame in particular. So So how do you do that successfully? The text lays it out into three steps. One is maintaining a low risk for disease, and I know we're living in that right now, trying to maintain a low risk for contracting the virus, and stay-at-home orders, and wearing face masks, and but it's more than just a risk of that type of disease. But the lifetime diseases are the ones that still here in the United States are going to be our top causes of death. Right now, as I'm speaking, the coronavirus has killed between, I think, 55 and 60,000 here in the United States. And annually, heart disease kills over 500,000 here in the United States. So, heart disease certainly has an impact on how you're living your life, how you're eating, how active you are, how you take care of yourself. So those lifestyle diseases are still going to be at the top of the list for the causes of death here in the United States. The second is, are you maintaining high physical and mental function? And so one of the things that's important that I see with aging adults is, are they maintaining, are they continuing to be active? Again, well-read, whether that be, maybe developing, not just if you're not working in retirement, coming up with hobbies, things to do that challenge your mind and engage you. And those are important all the way through life, not just in retirement, but certainly in retirement as well. And then the last step, according to the text, is finding your purpose. And we're going to talk about that more, but what on the next slide. But what is your purpose in life, and finding that? So, slide 3 talks specifically about that. A couple of things that I want to highlight is, in terms of your purpose from a Christian worldview perspective, it's not just about eternity. That God has this life here for us on earth and has experiences here. And He is here with us, and so we want to take advantage of that. So engaging in experience and activities, and trying to open yourself up to being a part of as many of those as possible, whether it's traveling or meeting new people, engaging in different types of learning. You're doing that right now at Olivet, engaging in in whether it be your major or just being taking classes in the general education curriculum, and learning about things outside maybe your comfort zone. And then finally, relationships, very important. Are you having purposeful relationships in life where you're serving others and giving to others, and not just what you can get out of it? Okay? Next slide is quality versus quantity, and we talk a lot about the life expectancy and the quantity of life, and certainly all the things we do in wellness and the preparation and the how we live proactively in wellness allows us to have a better chance at having higher quantity, living longer. But we're ultimately measured by the quality of life, how we live our life, and whether that's 50 years or 60 years or 80 years or 100 years. So that quality of life is really how we're measured. Okay? The next slide is on preparations for death. Not something that we certainly, even at my age, we don't. It's not easy for us to think about. We know that death and grief are a part of life, and so our text goes through, and this is something that some of you are probably already familiar with, and that's the stages of grief: denial, anger, depression, acceptance, resentment, and guilt. And if you've ever had something traumatic happen to you, a loved one die, or a long-term relationship, you know these, and maybe they didn't happen exactly in that order. Certainly, not necessarily a science to it, but it does help you think about grief. The biggest thing to think about is that grief is normal, and a lot of people are going through it right now. One of the saddest stories I'd heard, and I'm sure you guys have probably heard many of these. My junior daughter, she's a junior in high school at Bradley Bourbonnais, and one of her professors and her homeroom teacher, his father passed away at a nursing home here in Kankakee County, and because he wasn't allowed in, there were restrictions on visitors. He spent his dad's last hours he spent outside of a window, not being able to make physical contact or be beside his dad when he died. And that's sad. So we're all, a lot of us are experiencing that grief right now. And so it's important during those times to look at it as normal, and sometimes looking at the steps will help. Okay? Sometimes you go through those steps during, in the process of death too, if you know you're dying, or later in life. The one thing that experts typically add to that would be bargaining. That people sometimes make bargains. God, if you let me live through this, I'll do this. And that's just sometimes a normal thought process that we go through. Okay. Then the next slide is about coping with death. And again, something we don't. It's not easy for us to talk about and think about. But again, just as any part of wellness, we should be proactive with it and think about it. You think about, one of the things that I like to share with others is had experience going to many funerals, and there's definitely a difference between a funeral where someone was a believer and they knew God's plan for them and they lived that out, and everyone around them and at the funeral a lot of times knows, hey, that person is in a better place. They're in heaven. They're with God the Father. And those kind of funerals are very, very different than times when somebody is not a faith and not a believer, and there's no knowledge for sure of that. And so that's a big piece to coping with death. And again, understanding the normalcy of grief to go along with that. Okay? Specifics on and kind of practical things about preparation for death fall in really two categories. That's relationships and kind of the business end of things. Relationships, you'll see a lot of people making sure that they tie up loose ends, or they forgive someone, they mend a relationship, and it's sad that those things don't happen until the end of life. But that is a part of it. I think it's important to know that we don't ever, Scripture tells us we don't ever know the time or day, and whether it's God coming back for us or us leaving this life here on earth. And so it's important, I think, to take care of those relationships as we go, and not wait until it's too late. The next one is the business side of things, and that's things like making sure you have a will, making sure what are your wishes, as you maybe have a family, have children, who's going to take care of them, what are the finances, our preparation for finances. Even now, thinking about it even as a college student, what would happen? Would I want to be an organ donor? Would I want to use my organs for science, donate to science? So there's still questions now today you can ask, even at a young age, for how you would want to approach that. And then, like I mentioned, making sure that you don't have relationships that need repaired. And if you do, tend to those now. That's my advice to you. So, last couple things here. I wanted to just go over what the week looks like, and then talk about the final. Your only assignment this week is wellness and aging. So the PowerPoint along with this video. Make sure you go through and do the study guide if that's been helpful for you. And then the wellness survey is the last assessment that's up. It's on right now, and that's to be turned in at the end of the week. And that wellness survey there's no right or wrong. I just want you to be very honest with that, and it's really helps us, along with kind of your EOC evaluation of what transpired during the course for you. Did you change any habits? Did you change your perspective on wellness or how you live, or your activity level, your diet, any of those things? So make sure you're honest that we love the feedback in there. So again, if you complete it, it's 40 points. So just don't forget, be honest with it. There's no wrong answers. So just complete that survey, 40 points this week. Look at the PowerPoint with this video on wellness and aging, and then you'll be ready to take the exam. Okay, speaking of the exam, if we have any seniors in the class, and I know we do, it'll be open for you on Friday. You will need a password, so you do need to contact me if you're a senior. to get the password to take the exam to take Test F on Friday. For all of you, I want you to know it's not a cumulative final. It is just Test F. So just these last 3 chapters that we've covered. And so again, seniors, it'll be Friday. I did create 2 tests, so it's not the same test. So another Test F will be for the rest of our students next Tuesday. You do only have a 12-hour window to take it, unlike the 24-hour window for the regular for the exams prior. You have a 12-hour window. If there's something that you can't, there's a reason that you're working those straight 12 hours or traveling or doing something or won't have internet access, just let me know. We'll try to work something out. But it's next Tuesday for all students, this Friday for our seniors. And then again, don't forget to complete the wellness survey online, an assessment online. You can do that this week. So as always, if you need anything, please let me know. If you have any questions about assessments or assignments, or maybe there's a grade that's missing for you, this is the week to make sure that you contact me, let me know. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. I want to applaud you for the work you've done. I know it's been difficult for some, and sometimes I know all of us have lacked motivation, sometimes feeling kind of the anxiety of what's going on in society. So I just want to encourage you. I feel like you've done a great job, and I'm hoping that you'll finish strong here this week in Test F. And again, Test F is also a test that you can drop your lowest grade. So if you've done all the calculations and know that you already have an A and there's nothing that Test F can do about it, you can let me know. Hey, I'm not gonna take Test F. I'll put a 0 in for you, and that'll be your drop. So let me know if that's the case. And again, if you have anything that you need this week, please contact me anyway by email or text. Hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you more later this week or for the final.